Breaking news from Iran. The country faces its largest wave of protests in years, and tensions with the United States have reached a new high. Former President Donald Trump has publicly warned Tehran that the US is, in his words, locked and loaded, ready to intervene if Iranian authorities respond to peaceful protests with deadly force. With at least 7 protesters killed and both governments trading threats, this is a critical moment for Iran and the entire region. Let me break down what's happening. It all started in late December, when ordinary Iranians took to the streets, protesting skyrocketing inflation, a collapsing currency, and a cost of living crisis that's pushed many to the edge. Shopkeepers in Tehran were the first to close their doors and join the demonstrations, but soon, students and families across cities like Isfahan, Loristan, Mazandaran, and even the religious city of Qom joined in. Videos on social media captured packed crowds, burning rubbish, and running confrontations with security forces. By the start of January, the unrest had spread nationwide. The protests, which began over pocketbook issues, quickly shifted. In city after city, chants and banners moved from complaints about prices to demands for political change. Some protesters even called for an end to Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei's rule and a return to monarchy, something almost unthinkable just a few years ago. The government response was swift. State media confirmed deaths and arrests, claiming the goal was to restore order. But rights groups and international outlets say security forces used live ammunition against demonstrators in several cities, raising alarm far beyond Iran's borders. That's when Donald Trump entered the conversation. Early Friday morning, he posted a message on his social media platform. "If Iran's regime shoots and violently kills peaceful protesters," he wrote, "the United States is locked and loaded and ready to go." He promised America would come to their rescue, though he gave no details on what that might look like in practice. The language, especially locked and loaded, is a formal military term, signaling the US could take immediate action if events escalate. Iran's officials didn't take long to respond. Ali Larijani, secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, called Trump's statement adventurism, saying any US interference would destabilize the region and put American interests at risk. At the same time, Iran's parliament speaker labeled all US military bases in the region as legitimate targets. Iranian leaders accused Washington and Israel of fueling the unrest, though they offered no evidence. Inside Iran, there's political division over how to respond. President Masoud Pezeshkian, seen as a reformist, called for unity and dialogue to tackle the country's economic crisis. He's tried to signal a willingness to address the root causes, recently appointing a new central bank governor. But with the economy in freefall after years of sanctions, many Iranians are skeptical real change is possible. Meanwhile, funerals for killed protesters have become flashpoints for further clashes. International rights groups and Western governments have urged Iran to respect the right to peaceful protest and avoid further violence. The US State Department called the protests an understandable reaction to government failures. All this comes just months after a tense military standoff. In June, the US and Israel bombed Iranian nuclear sites, and Iran retaliated with a missile attack on a US base in Qatar. Now, as both Washington and Tehran exchange threats, the risk of escalation looms. What happens next is uncertain. Iran's government faces immense pressure to calm the streets and fix the economy, while the world watches to see if the US warning signals real intervention or remains just rhetoric. As Iranians demand change, and as leaders trade threats, the choices made in the coming days could reshape not only Iran's future, but the stability of the wider Middle East.